let's see if AI can correct your Japanese mistakes. We're gonna use ChatGPT, Microsoft Bing, which is based on ChatGPT, and Google Bard. So let's start with a very simple sentence with a very obvious mistake. 日本行きたいだよ. Can you spot the mistake? If you can't, I will teach you the kind of Japanese the real-life Japanese people today actually speak, because textbooks and apps don't really teach you how we actually speak Japanese. They will teach you unnatural, outdated, and sometimes incorrect Japanese. So click the link in the description and subscribe to my email group. Now, let's try this. Correct. The correct sentence will be 日本に行きたいよ. Exactly. That isn't used after adjectives or the tai, which is used to express want or desire. Perfect. This is interesting because when I tried this sentence before, ChatGPT gave me incorrect answers, but now this is interesting. I asked the question in English, but it answered in Japanese. How are you supposed to understand Japanese if you're still learning? Can you? Oh, it's giving me complete BS. 日本に行きたいんだけど is a more natural expression and is considered a formal expression. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. 日本に行きたいんだけど is still a very colloquial way of expressing this idea. Wow, this Bing is completely wrong. Let's try Google Bard. Same thing. Why are you explaining this in Japanese? Can you explain that in English? So this is a problem because we have different levels of like politeness, formality, casualness. There's not the perfect word in English. Like a level of like honorifics. Okay, so we use desu, masu with people who are older than us or often complete strangers. And if we are close to somebody, so family members, friends, we often use the neutral version without using des or mas. So Google Bard just arbitrarily changed neutral Japanese to honorific Japanese. The particle dayo is often used in spoken Japanese, not wrong, but it is not generally used in written Japanese. Who said we would like to write written Japanese? In written Japanese, the particle des is used. This explanation is wrong. You could actually write 日本に行きたい. That's perfectly fine. 日本に行きたいです is perfectly fine. So ChatGPT-4 wins. Right, next phrase. Let's try something that's easier. Do you remember this line, 大丈夫ます, that Anya said?
大丈夫ます.
Anya sounds cute with this, but it's grammatically wrong. So let's see if ChatGPT can fix it. 大丈夫です. Perfect answer. Let's try Bing. Can you explain everything in English? Oh, it doesn't understand the context. That's not what I asked. 大丈夫ます. Ugh, I told you to explain this in English. So can you correct my Japanese? The correct sentence is 大丈夫です, which is correct, but the Japanese explanation was, the Japanese answer is very strange because I said 大丈夫ます, but the Japanese answer said 大丈夫ですという表現はとても自然な表現です。大丈夫です is a very natural expression. I said something and Bing heard a different thing. This is very strange. Google Bard. Oh, so Google Bard doesn't understand what the entire conversation is about. It's like it's starting a new conversation every time. Can you... I told you to explain in English. Can you... Alright, the correct sentence is 大丈夫です. That's correct. The explanation is quite strange. It doesn't explain why you should use です instead of ます. Alright, so let's try a longer sentence. 日本が好きけどお金がすごいないですから行くできない. So this sentence is completely wrong, grammatically incorrect. So let's try ChatGPT first. Alright, so ChatGPT says the correct version is 日本が好きだけどお金がすごくないから行けない. Oh, it corrected grammatical mistakes. Now let's try Google Bing. Google Bing? No, Microsoft Bing. Can you... So the correct version according to Bing is 日本が好きですがお金がすごくないので行けません. Again, the same thing with a level of honorific. It changes neutral Japanese to a honorific Japanese, which it shouldn't, because what if you want to speak natural Japanese? Those AIs are like gatekeepers, just like textbooks and Japanese teachers. They force you to speak honorific Japanese using des and mas all the time. They don't like it when you speak neutral Japanese, which you might want to do it with your friends and people who are close to you, because being overly polite is not a good thing. You can sound distant or weird between friends. So each neutral Japanese and honorific Japanese, each version has its own place. Neither is more right or wrong. It just depends on the situation. Google Bard. Oh, I forgot that it doesn't understand. Can you... it's tedious that I have to type this all the time. So frustrating. Okay, it's grammatically incorrect. Yes. 日本が好きですがお金がないので行けません. Again, the same thing. It changed neutral Japanese to honorific Japanese. It shouldn't. It's also giving me misleading information. Saying お金がすごいない means I don't have very much money. However, in this case, it is more natural to say お金がないので行けません. It changes the meaning. So a better way of phrasing this is お金が全然ないから行けない. So 全然ない is a very natural expression, and it also means like I don't have money at all. Let's try a trickier sentence. ミュージアムに行ったんです。面白かったんです。でも、ミュージアムには写真を撮るは禁止です。It has grammatical mistakes, but also grammatically correct phrases that sound unnatural. So let's see how well ChatGPT can do with this phrase. Oh, that's interesting. So, でもミュージアムでは写真を撮るのは禁止です。Grammatically correct, perfectly natural. But the first two sentences are unnatural, and ChatGPT couldn't correct these. So I actually explained this in my video about です, but when you state a simple fact or when you tell a simple story, you don't use です. It should be ミュージアムに行きました。面白かったです。Let's try Bing. Oh, interesting. So, ミュージアムに行って面白かったんです。でもミュージアムでは写真を撮ることが禁止されています。It's grammatically correct, but it sounds pretty unnatural. It should be something like, okay, but... Google Bot doesn't really understand what I mean. Can you explain your code? Right, so the correct version according to Google Bot is ミュージアムに来ました。面白かったです。でもミュージアムでは写真を撮ることは禁止です。 Oh, this is actually the best answer, better than ChatGPT. Pretty interesting. But it doesn't explain why 一旦、行きました is better than 一旦です。The same with 面白かったです。But its explanation is quite weird because the Japanese sentence is in the present tense. It doesn't explain anything. The verb 取る is conjugated to the present tense form 取る. This is a pretty weird explanation. It didn't change the verb. The particle wa is used to make the subject of a sentence. In this case, the subject is 写真を撮る. However, the particle wa is not necessary when the subject is a verb. Therefore, I removed the particle wa from the sentence. It didn't remove the particle wa. Its version is ミュージアムでは. The explanation is complete nonsense. It makes no sense. Very contradictory. Let's try the next one. 大学の楽器の頃、よく友達で晩ご飯を食べます。でも休みの頃、よく友達で会いません。So lots of mistakes here. Oh. So ChatGPT gave me a very unnatural sentence. It sounds pretty weird. 大学の楽器の時、よく友達と晩ご飯を食べます。でも休みの時、あまり友達に会いません。This sounds very weird. And ChatGPT is pretty interesting because it's not very consistent. When I tried this phrase before, it actually gave me a better answer, but the answer is worse. But with the other phrases, it gave me better answers, so pretty inconsistent. I think a very natural version of this would be something like 大学の授業があるときはよく友達と晩ご飯を食べます。でも大学が休みのときはあまり友達に会いません。Yeah, something like that. Let's try. Bing. 大学の学期中はよく友達と晩ご飯を食べます。This is okay. しかし休みの時は友達に会うことができません。That's a very weird way of correcting this. So the original sentence means during holidays, I don't see my friends often. But the changed version, the correct, supposedly correct version says like I can't see my friends, which isn't the same thing. Okay, Google Bard. Okay, the correct version, according to Bard, is 大学の学期中はよく友達と晩ご飯を食べます。でも休みの間はあまり友達と会いません。This is actually the best answer. Better than ChatGPT, better than Bing. Let's try a completely natural sentence that I write. 日本語自然な日本語を身につけたい人は僕のメルマガに登録してね。If you want to learn natural Japanese, subscribe to my email list, which you can do by clicking the link in the description, by the way. Let's see what ChatGPT says about this. Oh, ChatGPT understands it's perfectly natural. Great. Bing. I hate it when it does it. It's corrected my Japanese because I'm not using des, mas, and speaking keigo or honorific Japanese. But don't tell me how I speak Japanese. I choose how I want to speak Japanese because I don't want to always use keigo or honorific Japanese. I only want to use keigo when I want to. Okay, Google Bard. What the? Google says it's not grammatically correct. It is. It's perfectly correct and natural. Complete BS. Complete BS. It says adding ne is not grammatically correct because this sentence is an imperative sentence. It's complete nonsense. It's appalling. So ChatGPT is pretty impressive. It's not perfect, but it can correct grammatical mistakes, even though it can't always correct unnatural sentences. Bing and Bard, they are quite hit and miss. but I'm pretty sure they will be much better in the future. So if you want to learn Japanese, you can maybe use ChatGPT, but don't rely on it. And learn Japanese with me because I will teach you the kind of Japanese the real-life Japanese people today actually speak. Because textbooks and apps and AI, they don't always teach you how we actually speak Japanese naturally. So click the link and subscribe to my email group, Japanese with Yuta.